Hey guys, it's Di from BeingMommywithStyle, and today I wanted to do a video that's going to kick off a new series of videos and also fill you guys in, do a little bit of a chatty vlog on our next phase of life, what's going on with us, and also the resolution. So I know a lot of people have been kind of asking for an update, and I have known for a little while what we were going to do, but I was kind of waiting to kind of let it all play out. And I have been videoing along as it played out, so you guys are gonna actually pick up with those videos starting tomorrow. But we did come to our resolution, regarding the school situation. We decided what we wanted to do, we decided what was gonna work for us, we decided what we thought would be a better fit, and then we started putting things into motion and figuring it out. So in case you haven't already guessed from the Disney video that was just before this is a different room that I'm sitting in right now. We did move. We already moved. We actually moved, kind of. We were moving in the middle of going to Disney. It actually went very smoothly. So let me kind of back up a little bit, give you a little bit of the process, how we got here, and then I'll kind of fill you in on what you're gonna start watching tomorrow. So if you guys have been watching our story kind of play out over the past year, we moved to Alabama somewhat quickly. The girls were finishing school up there. They had dance recitals, they had end of the year things, they had summer camps they were signed up for. So there was just a lot going on when he was given the opportunity to come down here. He had worked for the same company, an automotive OEM in Michigan for 10 years, 5 years contract, 5 years direct. And they were really a great company to work for, but it had really hit a point where it just was putting a square peg in a round hole, for lack of a better word. And although they, took care of their employees in a sense very well, mainly monetarily, we had really hit a point where there was some issues arising where it was almost kind of like they didn't look at them as humans. They were really kind of just like widgets. And so it's a really long, involved story, and I know we kind of talked a little bit about it way back when, but I think the straw that broke the camel's back is when he was in Mexico for 2 weeks around Christmas, and they were wanting him just to like stay down there and possibly miss part of Christmas, and he was like, no, I'm not doing that. He'd been missing tons of things in school. He was not gonna miss Christmas. They were flying him all over. They were talking about sending him to China for a period of time in that spring. And what he did before was he was an engineer for new pilot vehicle, for new platforms, so new vehicles that were just starting. So that's the reason why you would see us move every year and a half to 2 years, because a new vehicle platform would start up. We would get moved over to kind of launch that vehicle. He's on a launch team, I guess, is what you would call it. He would help launch new vehicles. And so parts of that job, he was on the engineering side, so part of that is dealing with the suppliers and going to where the suppliers are and working out any kinks that were there. And so he got into a point where he was flying to Mexico, going to Canada a lot. When we were in Michigan, ironically, he had to go back to Illinois a lot. So just kind of had to do those things, and you guys didn't see it because I intentionally kept it out of the video for safety concerns, but obviously there was no way for you to know if I didn't say it. He was actually gone a lot. He was gone a majority of the time. In fact, there towards the end, he would be gone like 3 weeks out of the month or something like that. So it just hit a point where he really, I think, had decided, I really don't think this is what I want to do. So he opened up his resume. He, long story short, was contacted by the recruiter down here, and here we are. So once that process started, it was really kind of quick. So at the time we made the Niagara Falls videos, we kind of knew something was brewing, which is why we really wanted to kind of get that trip in before we would potentially be going. But everything kind of hit in May, and he had to be down here, and it was the end of school up there, and they had a month of school left, and everything kind of happened rapidly. So he started looking for stuff down here, and everything sounded very romantic at the time. It sounds like romantic, like move to this faraway place and, all of that. But then we got down here and we realized it's much, much harder to move somewhere that you've never been, So anytime we'd moved sight unseen in Michigan, we had lived there before. Like literally our house in Michigan was in one neighborhood. We had lived in the neighborhood directly across the street like 3 years prior when we lived in Michigan. So we had lived basically one neighborhood over the same neighborhood previously. So that was a bit of it was a big miscalculation on our part. Let's just call a spade a spade. It's a big miscalculation on our part. Got down there, got down here. We were still in Alabama, and things didn't pan out. They didn't pan out. We went off of a lot of resources online. We went off of a lot of recommendations online, and unfortunately, what the learning process was is that we realized like people's opinions on what I think is good and what someone else thinks is good is not necessarily the same thing, because you may be your parameters may be different. So we got into it. We got into some place that we thought was going to be great. We'd be saving all this money. We would have great schools, and you know, he'd be in this job that really allowed him to have a more flexible lifestyle, and he would enjoy more. Luckily, that part all panned out. A few months into the school year, I found a job that has to do with social media. I love the people I work with, and that all panned out. So we were in this situation that we'd never had before. We were both at jobs, really enjoy them, but then everything else around us is not what we thought it was going to be. So it was a struggle. So you guys kind of picked up in videos, I think, along about February. We'd met with the school, we'd met with the administrators, we'd met with the city some of the city administration, and we really kind of got the sense after talking to people, this is not going to change. You know, the things that we kind of viewed as their downfall, they were pretty cemented in, like they are gung-ho going that direction. So we decided we needed to do something about that. It was not going to work long-term for us. So we started looking at other schools in the area. We started going on school tours. I've been going on school tours since the beginning of spring. And we've been looking at other schools. Once we narrowed it down to a couple of schools, then we started looking at real estate in those areas, and then really kind of narrowed it down from there to where we really kind of narrowed the pie down to a specific area that we really liked, and started working with the realtor. And then found a house that we really loved, put an offer in on it, it was accepted, and we bought the house. So we did buy a house about a month ago, and then we sold our house that we had over there. So it's been kind of a whirlwind, but actually it's gone a lot smoother than it probably should have. But we're excited about the possibilities. I'm really hopeful that some of the things that I kind of viewed as negatives will kind of see a positive change. But we just knew the situation as it was, the negatives that I saw, the negatives that he saw, both of us were frustrated. It was not going to change. We both decided we cannot do this as far as the school situation is concerned. We cannot deal with the school situation for the next 4, 5, potentially 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. It's just, that's not going to work. Because it was just too stressful for everyone, the kids included. So we made a change. And so school hasn't started yet. We don't know how that part's gonna pan out, but we are hopeful, because some of the things that we were wanting, better organization, that sort of thing, we've already seen from the school. I went in to get him registered. It was smooth, easy as pie, and you know, it's fingers crossed. I'm trying not to get my hopes up too much, because obviously school's not started, but I'm just hopeful it goes a lot smoother than last year. Now, some of the things like the academics that we've seen, the South, or I think Alabama in general, is more testing focused than the North. The North seems to be more experience focused, and then the South seems to be more testing oriented. So there is going to be more testing, but it's a give and take. So it's a matter of, I really felt like last year the kids were just wasting their time, to be quite honest with you. And I hated that feeling, like that I was just sending them somewhere and they were just wasting their time all day long. Like literally their test scores at a point in the year were both kids. One kid is more academically oriented than the other one. So it would have been one thing if it was just one of the kids. But both kids, pretty much the same curve, went backwards from where they tested at the beginning of the year, before school had started. Like they were literally losing being at school. So it just, you know, mentally couldn't wrap my head around it. Like, you know, we just can't keep doing that. So we decided it was not for us. We decided that it was not going to change, and there was just a lot of issues also with, I think, funds and overcrowding and things like that too, which, by the way, when it came time to register, we already knew that we were going to be over here, so we did not register over there. And they sent out emails that if they didn't get kids registered, they were going to let go of teachers. They call them teaching units, which I really hated that. Like, they're not teaching units, they're teachers, they're people. But the first email I think we got was like from 3rd grade, and I was like, hallelujah, Isabella cannot have another bad year. I'm so glad we had made the decision to move at that point. She is not going to have that year again. So that email went out. They were possibly going to lose a teacher, be short on teachers. I think they only have like 4 teachers over there for the amount of kids. To give you a comparison, for the same amount of kids over here, they have 6. In kindergarten here, they have 7. So it's like 7 kindergarten teachers, 6 first grade, 6 second grade, 6 third grade, and that's like for the whole thing. So that email goes out, and I'm like, hallelujah, thank goodness we moved. Our house over there goes on the market. They sent out an email that the first grade they may be letting go of a teacher. And it's like, we could have potentially been in a bad situation in both classrooms next year. Thank you that we moved. And they were gonna go to like 3 teachers. And it's like, I don't understand why that district over there can only have 3 teachers for the same amount of kids if this one over here can have 6. There was a lot of red flags. So anyhow, no longer my concern. I feel like we're in a much better situation for them to really like prosper, and I want them to go to school and I want them to enjoy it. It's not just about like, you gotta learn this, you gotta learn that. I want them to learn, yes, but I want them to enjoy it. Also, just because I know everyone's gonna ask, the house. So the house was pretty much the exact same setup as the one that we had in Illinois previous to moving over to Michigan this past time. So if you've been watching us for 4 years, when the kids had that big playroom in the back, the house was pretty much exactly the same if you just took the playroom off. So the configuration actually worked really great. I was not the biggest fan of the pool. I mean, we'll just go ahead and throw that out there. I was not. It did stress me out. And it took up a lot of my husband's time maintaining it. This house does not have a pool. We do have a community pool, which is nice. So we have access to the pool without all of the hassle of having to deal with it or deal with the safety of it in your backyard. So we did buy this house, and then we still had that house, and we had a time period where we had to decide what to do with that house. I haven't really talked a lot about this on my channel. I don't think necessarily, I might have mentioned it way back when, like way when we lived in Illinois. But we've always, my husband and I have talked since actually before we were married, we've always wanted to have rental property. And so we really had to stop and consider, do we want to keep that house over there, the one with the pool, do we want to keep it rented out? But at the end we decided it's not worth the liability, it's not the right property, so we ended up selling it. And I do think that we probably will get into rentals sometime soon, just because it's kind of a goal that we have and we're at a point where we want to start doing it. But that, in our mind, was not the right property to start doing it. So we did end up selling it. Overall, the house configuration worked really good. I mean, it was good, but I missed having the playroom. I missed having a separate office where I could film. That was a huge bust. That was a major, huge bust. Trying to combine those two was a horrible idea. Horrible idea on my part. And then the pool was not a positive for us in my idea. It just took a lot of time, a lot of effort, and overall I didn't like the liability of it. So in the end, would I choose the house again? No, especially considering its specific location. This is where knowing the area comes in. Holy cow. So without knowing the area, it's really hard to kind of explain this to you because we're used to traffic. We're used to, you know, driving on the outskirts of Chicago, driving through the suburbs of Detroit. That kind of traffic doesn't bother us. It's really like when traffic is just sitting still or when I'm stuck on a single lane road that it drives me nuts. And where our house was, those two situations happen constantly. A lot of the roads over in that specific area where the old house was are 2-lane roads. They're old country roads that should have never been used as a regular like road. The city has not widened anything, and in my, you know, not knowing anything opinion about, you know, city planning or anything, just in my personal opinion, I think they're gonna have a huge problem soon because there's too many people moving there, not enough lanes on the roads. It's already sitting still bumper to bumper at 5 o'clock. It would literally take me the same amount of time to go half the distance over there that it will take me to get here. My commute to get here is much easier, and it's twice the distance. But it's flowing the whole time. There's multiple lane roads the whole time. It's flowing. I'm not just sitting still. So the traffic patterns over there are a huge problem. So that was a negative. And then also the specific neighborhood we moved in, and this just may be something like, it was just an anomaly that we ended up in a house where there was vacant houses near us. And they were taking care of where the people would come in and mow the lawn like once a month, or maybe, you know, once every month and a half. But other than that, there was just people in and out. So we had some really great neighbors, and some of them may be watching this video, so hi, we miss you guys. But we had some really fabulous neighbors, but it was also very weird, like living near vacant houses. We've never had that before, and we really didn't like that. It was kind of just odd that there was like literally a triangle of vacant houses around us. So, and they had no real plans to sell them. They were just hanging on to them. So I don't know, it just was not the best fit. Already having been over here, we've owned this house for I think about a month or so, maybe a little bit over a month. We have officially lived here for about a week or so. Love it, fantastic. At first glance, you would probably look at the commute on a map and go like, that doesn't make any sense. But when you look at that, it's pretty much all interstate. It works phenomenal. I enjoy the view. I can't wait. Oh, you guys haven't seen the mountains yet. There's beautiful mountains here, which I love. And we're enjoying the house. And it's somewhere that I think that we can really, you know, kind of make a home. And the most important part, we loved the school. When we went on the school tours, this school really stood out to me. And we looked at multiple schools. We looked at the grade school and the middle school and the high schools. So we really, really loved this particular grade school, and I feel like, I don't want to build it up too much, but I feel like we're gonna have a really great year. They have a Harry Potter club for Isabella. Natalie wants to do soccer. They have art club. They do art music all year long. They didn't do that at the last school, so there's a lot of positive changes. They have more teachers, 6 teachers for the first grade, 6 teachers for the third grade, so they have more teachers. I just think overall it's going to be, I hope, a much smoother year. So that is our resolution, and moving videos start tomorrow. So I've been filming since June when we started the official move. We had closed on the house. I think we found this house at the end of May, and then, you know, the time it took to close, it was June. And then so we closed on the house and we took some time to kind of move stuff over here. I was gonna try to get painting done, but I ended up falling through with people not showing up and people not being able to get me on their schedule in that time. But actually, as I've been in here, some of the paint colors I'm actually gonna keep that I thought it wasn't going to originally, so it's actually worked out. So from this point on, you'll start watching videos that were filmed in June, but it'll quickly speed through time and you'll be brought up to real time in about a week or so. And that's it. Welcome to the new house. So as soon as school starts, it starts actually in just a couple weeks, I will be sure to fill you in on how it's going. And I'm really, really hopeful that this is the solution. It feels like the resolution, it feels right, but I don't want to, you know, build it up too much. So let me know if you have any questions down below. I know a few people at least have been waiting on this video and asking about it. Also, I've been leaking pictures of the new house on Instagram. People have been like, that looks like your furniture, but it's not your walls. What's going on? So this is it. So I'll be sharing the new house tomorrow and kind of an initial, like, I think literally the day we closed on it, I came over here and took a video, and then we're off and running. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.